Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Thursday, October 28th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're somebody that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about the tool of charts and technical analysis to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. Real quick before I get started, I do want to personally invite you that if you enjoy what you're seeing as I go through the video and you want to learn more about the practical power of charts and how to use them, then I am offering a free live online class on Thursday. So if you're watching on YouTube, then there's a link down in the description box you can click on. If you're watching at my site, then there's an area right on the web page that you can click on. So just keep in the back of your mind as I go. And if you want to learn more about this tool and how can it be used to build consistency, then definitely get signed up for the class. Now, before I get started with all the stocks, a couple quick kind of disclosures here. First off, we will be looking at the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks, as they're called, represents 30 minutes worth of time. And also, the market is still going to be open for a little while, which I kind of like to do just so we can continue to see things, take shape and form. So yes, that candle is still moving because, again, the last 30 minutes has not concluded yet. So yeah, as we go through the video, you'll notice that's moving. But like I said, at this point in the day, what I want to talk about can easily be accomplished. So as far as SYTA, our first stock, what an absolute beast this became. I mean, to think that this thing was down around $3, now all the way up above $8. Crazy, crazy move. All this was occurring on big volume. Now let's map out a couple of key levels to watch here headed into Thursday. First level right there, that upward trend line, you can see that both surges have now been rejected at that point. So any sort of further move to the upside, right around that $10 mark, looks like it could be a potential area of resistance that you're going to want to watch. So keep an eye on, we'll call it $10.50. And then as far as levels of support are concerned, for those of you that like playing pullbacks, very clear level of support now down here right around $6.75. Several times today, the price got down around that area, and you can see each time the buyer stepped in, to support the price there. So, depending on your strategy, if you're a breakout player, a pullback player, or maybe you just like to buy, within consolidations, then this is definitely one that I would put on your watch list as it explodes, as it showed today, very explosive power. Next one, BKKT, and this one was looking pretty rough after yesterday's momentum, but today, all of a sudden, things have started to turn itself around, so there's still work that needs to be done. It's not like it's broken up through those highs. However, the first step to getting turned around is we're starting to show signs that you're turning around, and that's exactly what's happened today. So again, work needs to be done, but definitely a step in the right direction. And as far as more so the overall chart is concerned, and this will mean more to those of you that watched past top 10 videos, but for those of you that did, hopefully you remember me talking about these areas of support, and check that out. The power of charts came down there, found some support very nicely at that green line there, in a sense bounced from that area. So from that angle of things, nothing has changed as far as supports are concerned. Still have the levels down here around $21 and the $20 mark, so keep an eye on those. But as far as the mentions of there's still more work that needs to be done, the next bit of quote unquote work, and I realize me just saying work needs to be done, that's just a soundbite, right? Those are just words, but that's why I love charts, is they allow you to take words and then make them very visual. So when I say work that needs to be done, that's where this $30 comes into place. You can see right there, $30 presented a problem, and then fast forward into this afternoon, once again $30 acting as a little issue point. So as far as that next step of work, keep an eye on $30, and let's see if the price can get the break up through it. Next one, AMC, and I mean, no need to beat around the bush. A very rough day, a very bearish day, especially from a chart pattern perspective, because for those of you that have been watching past videos, been talking about this sideways channel pattern, how the price has just been, bouncing back and forth. However, there was no bouncing back and forth. You can see right there, the price finally did break to the downside of the channel, which is where the first big update comes into play, which is just a basic rule in charting, which states when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. And you can actually see that played out very realistically in the real world of trading here, as the price did bounce back up, and then when look right where it got rejected, right at that former area of support. So moving forward now, 35.75 is going to be that main area of resistance. So if the price does try to consolidate out and then turn back upwards, that'll be the first, kind of true test in terms of, okay, let's measure the health of any sort of bounce. And that first mile marker will be at 35.75. I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of that line there, as it served its purpose for now. And then also an area to keep an eye on from the resistance standpoint, going to be that purple line there, the 50 period moving average, currently valued at 36.25. So you're going to want to watch that. As far as next potential areas of support, got to squeeze down the chart here, because as you're seeing, it's been quite a while since the price has been down around this area of the chart. But the next potential area to watch would be down at these lows, down around 33.75, which were these lows from back here in late September. So yeah, no doubt about it. Like I said, not a great day today. Bearish breakdown. Now it's just a question of, if it does get down to 33.75, will that produce some sort of bounce? We'll see what happens. Next one, FAMI, and this is a tricky chart to talk about from a presentation standpoint because there's a lot of perspectives that go into it. What do I mean by that? Well, if you are some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, and you bought up there and your plan was to buy and sell within 7 minutes, well then from that angle, from that perspective, the chart looks terrible. However, if you care about the big picture of things, I understand there was a big pullback, but let's look at where these lows have actually been since, the price started to turn around back there. So there's a set of lows, there's a set, there's a set. Here's the lows from today. And if you envision each one of those as stair steps, what do you have? Again, emphasis on big picture. Well, from the big picture point of view, you do still have stair steps progressing in the upwards direction. Again, I fully understand that if you're a day trader and you bought up there, then yeah, you don't care about these stair steps. But again, I'm really trying to emphasize the fact that I'm making this comment from a broad point of view. So sure, today, very rough day, but broad point of view, the stair steps are still in play. So in other words, the trend is still in the bullish direction. So keep that kind of in mind. And as far as the key levels of support are concerned for the overall trend, definitely staying above that pink line would be best, which is the 200 period moving average, currently valued at 35 cents. So keep an eye on that. And then if there is any sort of attempted movement back to the upside, that main area of resistance going to be right there at the 40-cent mark. So we'll see what happens with it over the next couple of days. Next one, METX, and this one's looking pretty rough, pretty ugly, but sometimes there can be opportunity in ugly, and for those of you that like to find those setups that are looking pretty ugly that you think probably everybody's just waving the white flag on, saying it's game over, in many situations, those are the exact moments where things turn around. Now, of course, that's not guaranteed to happen, so as always, that's why, especially for setups like this, risk management is paramount. You better be able to, manage and control that risk. But for those of you that do like to play those sorts of big, pullbacks in situations where it's looking like it's kind of game over, that's where this area right down here at 39 cents is interesting because that is going to be this little gap close location right here. So while it's not guaranteed, it is a rational area to think. It's not like some sort of random area to just talk about 39 cents. It's that gap close to think that, well, if the price could come down there, close the gap, and then get some sort of turnaround. Now, does that mean it's going back up to, 70 cents? I'm not saying that. But even if it goes up half that far, I mean, relative to the risk, that would be very nice upside reward. So for those of you that like to play those ideal risk versus reward scenarios, you have that 39-cent mark. Maybe you're a little bit more high maintenance. You're landing in okay, I want it to get really ugly. I would only be interested if it comes down to that 200 period moving average at 35 cents. And I can completely understand your logic in that regard too. But the overall premise remains the same. Yeah, things are looking pretty ugly right now, but sometimes that's where the true bounces happen. Next one, AGRI, same exact premise, which is why I wanted to put them next to each other. But the fact is this thing showed a whole lot of capability. I mean, this thing just exploded upwards. However, things have now gotten very, very ugly as there's been this massive pullback. But again, same idea that we just talked about. I don't know. Maybe this isn't as ugly as it seems. Maybe there's some opportunity here, especially with the fact that it's at least started to go sideways right down here around $3.20. So $3.20 again. Like I just talked about, same idea. For those of you that are maybe more high maintenance, you could be saying, no, Clay, I'd rather have it be at the 50 period. Now, to use the 200 period at that point, I mean, that would assume that the price has then broken down below that area. And at that point, I would say officially game over. Maybe you disagree, and that's fine too. And that's the power of everybody being able to think for themselves. But like I said, in my mind, that area of support right there or that 50 period moving average makes the most sense in terms of buying a very ugly situation with a tight risk profile. And if you do get the move back to the upside, you could have a very nice reward profile. So from a risk reward angle, it could be a very favorable setup. Next one, DWAC. Quite a bit of a talked about one, and an interesting setup here, just because just maybe, and to be fair, maybe nothing happens. But, it is a two-sided maybe coin. So, yeah, maybe this upwards movement here doesn't really mean anything. But the idea here is, well, it has started to slightly move to the upside. Now, the thing that's a little bit of a buzzkill is that none of this was really happening on that much volume. Now, that doesn't mean that it's a deal breaker, but if you were to nitpick, yeah, the volume could have at least been a little bit bigger. Did it need to be that big? Absolutely not, but a tad bit bigger than what it was. But at the end of the day, there is a little bit of an upwards movement here, which brings about the more than valid question of, okay, is this the start? Is this some sort of leading indicator of a bigger move to come? Once more, to be, because I don't want to come across as guarantees. And I wish I could say trend resistance. I wish I could say that because the price pulled back, went sideways, bounced off that green line, which I've talked about in previous videos, and it's now started to head back up. that means it's guaranteed the bottom. It's guaranteed that something bigger is happening. How nice would that be? How easy would trading be? But that's not quite how it works. But again, is it plausible? Is it a rational thought that this might be a leading indicator of something bigger? Absolutely, which brings about a very helpful level now, which is going to be that purple line there, the 50-period moving average as resistance, meaning that'll be a key breakout point where if the price gets up there and breaks up through it, now it becomes that much more plausible that, okay, wow, that sideways action was kind of piece of evidence one. Now we have piece of evidence number two right there, that 50-period moving average valued right there at $79.50. So keep an eye on that to help measure whether or not this upwards movement today means anything. Of course, if the price just crashes downwards, well, then yeah, today was just a kind of a false hope type move. But yeah, an interesting setup. Next one, IRNT, and this is bonkers because, I learned this into the private community that I offer when it was, somewhere right down around $13.50, and just in that amount of time, the thing's already moved up another $3. So this is one where, if you like to play momentum, then this is right up your alley. But if you're someone that likes to play pullbacks, then there's not a whole lot to work with right now because, yeah, as you can see, and again, the markets are still open. That candle continues to get higher and higher as we're watching this momentum continue on up. Let's see if it can put in even newer highs there. If that candle can, there it goes. So now it's going to even newer highs there, potentially hit up to 17. So if you're somebody that likes to kind of surf the momentum, play the momentum, then this is definitely one that is standing out quite a bit clearly with the afternoon surge. And I should note that, yeah, first part of the day, nothing was going on. And then all of a sudden, late day, you can see volume came pouring in and the price reacted very nicely with it. So as far as, for those of you that do like to play pullbacks, a couple pullback choices right there could be interesting right down there around 1450 or the main breakout point down there at 1325. But with the amount of momentum that's shown up, these levels may just, look like, they may have already been left in the dust and, they may not come into play anymore. But that's just, that's the give and take of the market. If you're a pullback player, sometimes you'll never get the pullback and you should have just bought the momentum. So again, that just goes to your personal risk tolerance. But moral of the story here, this one should definitely be on your watch list headed into Thursday. Next one, GRTX. Not a whole lot of hype around this one right now, but maybe catching this one before a bigger move occurs. But the idea here, just like IRNT, nothing going on in the earlier part of the day, and then all of a sudden this afternoon you can see volume showed up, price behaved in a very nice way. But the difference here compared to IRNT is we still actually have a breakout point, right? This one has not broken out. So it's not one of those where, you're showing up and it's like, okay, well, it's already broken up. I just got to try to catch the momentum. No, have a very distinct area right there at $2.25. That'll be an important area to watch. If the price can break up, through 225, the next key level after that would then be up there right around 245. But the main dynamic here is the fact that the price has really woken up. Now it's just doing some consolidating. So the question mark becomes, is this just a temporary breath of momentum before the momentum continues? A more than plausible question, and it's certainly worth keeping an eye on, especially if you like this price range of stock. So again, not a whole lot of people talking about it, but that's sometimes the best opportunities is when not a whole lot of people have noticed it yet, and then by the time they do notice it and they're buying breakouts and everything, you're already in it. So keep an eye on this one, and we'll see how this pattern plays out over the next couple of days. Next one, TSLA. Tesla finally decided to act human here a little bit. Although overall, very nice looking pattern. Let me just get rid of that level. And I want to be very clear, in no way am I trying to imply like what I'm about to draw here is some sort of special skill that I have or some sort of great discovery. The exact opposite. I assure you, people that use charts, understand charts, are going to be watching this exact thing. And I say all that because when a lot of people are watching the same things, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movements. So the level here that I assure you, a whole bunch of people have done is this right here. They've drawn that trend line. They've noticed that and said, okay, there's clearly some selling pressure that has shown up. And once again, I get it. Me just saying selling pressure are just words, but power of charts is they can make those words very visual. So selling pressure being represented by that downtrending trend line. So while nothing's guaranteed, it is plausible to think that if the price can break up through that level, that would imply that the selling pressure is finally gone, which then could create that much more of a breakout. So again, as far as just avoiding random areas, going through that thought process is by no means random. Guaranteed? No. But is it plausible? Absolutely. So keep a very close eye on that trend line. And then from a support standpoint and a level that I think a lot of people will be watching and curious about is going to be right down there at the $1,000 mark, which is just a big old round number of 1,000. You can see that was a former resistance, and then we have a classic example of that resistance then acting as support right there. So in my mind, those are going to be the two main areas on Tesla moving forward. You have the resistance pressure or selling pressure trend line right there, and then you have that $1,000 mark as support. And if the price pulls back there, then I don't think it would be shocking at all to see some sort of bounce from it. But yeah, overall, I like when there are areas very well defined, and that's what Tesla is presenting. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you enjoyed what you saw here and you want to see more about how this practical tool of charts can be used to build consistency, then definitely get signed up for the class. Like I said, it'll be Thursday, October 28th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So sign up in the description box on YouTube or just somewhere right on the webpage if you're watching at my site. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy this format, if you're finding these helpful, then communicate that to me by hitting that like button and leaving a comment down below, even if it's just a ticker symbol that you traded today, saying hi. But those two things go a long way in my mind of telling me that it's worth the time and effort, because these videos, they do take some time and effort, and I have no problem continuing to do them. But from just a good old-fashioned time management standpoint, I want to make sure that I'm managing my time wisely. So if you do enjoy the videos, then like I said, just hit that like button and leave a basic comment below. And again, if you're interested in learning about charts, how they can be used, how they should be used, how they should not be used in order to build consistency, definitely get signed up for the class. So hopefully everybody had a good one. Take care, and I'll see you back tomorrow.